thanks so much for being here. Can't believe how many of us are here. It's amazing. My name is Luke Smith. And this is Eileen. And I'm the community leader, and Eileen is our friendship builder. Before we begin our program, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some sad news and impactful news in our community's life. News that some of you may know already, that our dear friend Michael Schaff, the founding core member of our community, passed away this week. Michael was able to be with those he loved in his final days and hours in his own home, a wish he had held deeply for many years. So Michael's death is a great sadness and loss to our community, and we're so grateful that he called home for over 40 years. Michael had a great gift of knowing each of us, our history, our families, welcoming and connecting others. Gifts that he has empowered each of us here to share and celebrate. As you will sense through this afternoon's event, our community is built upon relationships of love and trust, and celebrating the gifts of one another. I ask that we hold Michael's home, especially those who've lived and supported him in these last weeks, in your prayers. And as we begin our time, Eileen, a dear friend of Michael and our friendship builder, is going to lead us in an opening prayer.
Whoa. Okay, dear God, I hope Michael, my friend Michael, and everybody's gonna feel sad. And dear God, I hope he's in a better place right now. Amen.
Amen. Let the fun begin. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eileen. Thank you, Eileen. Oh, now you can all hear me thanking Eileen. Michael was a very good friend to us, wasn't he, Joseph?
Yeah. Very hot.
And what's your name?
Everybody.
Joseph Butler. And I'm Chriselle. Welcome to the Heart of L'Arche. What a joy to be here together. All of us together in this beautiful space. Today we gather to celebrate the Heart of L'Arche, who we are and our mission in the world. L'Arche is a vibrant community of people with and without intellectual disabilities who share life together. And our assistants provide competent and compassionate care. We have 4 homes, 2 in Northwest DC and 2 in Arlington, where we share joys, responsibilities, and daily tasks of building community. As we were preparing for our time together, we thought about what the Heart of L'Arche means to each of us. So we'd love to hear from you. What does the Heart of L'Arche mean to you? You can go ahead and shout it out.
Friendship.
I heard 2 friendships.
Family.
Welcome. Community.
Welcome. Community.
Love.
Love.
Fun.
Belonging.
Acceptance.
Sitting around the dinner table.
Laughter.
A lot of people, says Carl. Joseph, when you and I talked about what the Heart of L'Arche means to us, what did you say?
Family.
Family. Yeah. And one of the ways we got to live out being family together this year was going on a trip, right? And ever since I met you, you talked about going to one place in particular. What was that?
Miami.
Miami, Florida. So, there's just one catch. Joseph has a fear of heights. And Florida is far away. But we did it. We went together, didn't we? Joseph, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a picture of us on the beach. So we did. We made it. And so every time we talked about getting on a plane before, you'd say, "No way." Sometimes, "No way, Jose." So to me, the heart of L'Arche means all of those little moments that let us slowly build trust, like conversations through drives in Rock Creek Park, birthday road trips, to the point of being able to take your first trip on a plane. And Joseph, do you remember when I asked you, once we were there on the beach, if you'd do this again? What did you say?
Yeah.
And what else did you say?
Say no more.
And you're not afraid anymore. Isn't that incredible? Joseph said, "I'm not afraid anymore." So that's what the heart of L'Arche means to me. It's all those moments where we can trust one another to be able to make a leap and realize we're not afraid anymore. So thank you to each of you for joining us as we explore what the heart of L'Arche means to each of us. Joseph and I will be your MCs to guide you through our program today. So we'd now like to welcome back to the podium our friend and brother Luke. Luke came to our community 15 years ago and has been faithfully serving as our community leader and executive director for the last 8 years.
Uh-oh.
Good afternoon again. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Griselli. And thanks to our distinguished guests. And thanks to each of you for being here. Yeah. Even though you may not want to be here, I still think. Thanks for showing up. Not just to share in a beautiful and fun afternoon, but to share in something far more powerful, building a community where no one is left out. Today we gather in a time where loneliness is being called truly what it is, an epidemic. It's not just sadness, it's a slow erasing of one's place in the world. It's people feeling invisible, unnecessary, unloved. But we have a response to that. It's called L'Arche. And for more than 40 years, right here in Greater Washington, D.C., L'Arche has been answering that ache.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. With something fiercely beautiful, belonging. Since 1983, L'Arche GWDC has been a community where people with and without intellectual disabilities share life together. Not as clients and caregivers, but as friends, housemates, and as Joseph reminds us, family. We currently have 4 homes and a community connections program that stretch across the district and Arlington, Virginia. We welcome people of all faiths, all abilities, all backgrounds. We cook together, we pray together, we dance in our kitchens, and we sit quietly when words fall short. And while our work may seem small, a shared breakfast, a birthday celebration, a walk to the corner coffee shop, those acts are revolutionary in a world that constantly tells people they don't belong. At L'Arche we say, you are welcome, you are needed, you are loved. Despite all the uncertainty with government funding, Medicaid, this community isn't just surviving, it's growing. In 2026, will open, finally, a new home in Arlington, the Farmhouse. A place already humming with dreams, a place that will welcome a home for new corps members and assistants, a place that says our story is not finished, it's just beginning a new chapter. We're expanding not just in buildings, but in vision. We're deepening local partnerships, bringing wisdom from our life together into the boardroom, classrooms, chapels, and high school cafeterias. We're following the leadership of our corps members, who are shaping our community's decisions. We are advocating with like-minded organizations, nationally and locally, for policies that honor dignity. We're investing in our assistants and leaders, ensuring those who pour love into our homes are supported and sustained professionally and personally. This growth isn't about being big, it's about being bold. Bold in love, bold in welcome, and bold in our belief that a more human society is not just a dream, it's something we're building every day. And we need you, yes you, all of you, even those ones sat at the back, to build it with us. It's inspiring every year to see how many donors come together to make the work of L'Arche possible. Many of you are in the room today. When you invest in L'Arche Greater Washington, D.C., you're not just funding a nonprofit. You are making sure someone with an intellectual disability has a real home. Not an institution, not a system, but a home with birthday parties, kitchen dance parties, and real relationships. You are ensuring assistants, many of whom come from around the world, can live, grow, and be trained to be compassionate and grounded leaders. You are building communities that model inclusion, what inclusion actually looks like, that invite the world to slow down and listen. And so I ask you today, will you join us? Will you help us create new homes, train new leaders, support new corps members, and widen the circle of belonging? Will you give boldly? Because love is bold, and we need love to rise. Help us make sure no one stands alone. Help us keep building this sacred, ordinary, extraordinary thing called community.
You need help, Lou?
We always need help, Eric. Yes. No, you can sit back there and help. You can help someone else later on. Building this sacred, ordinary, extraordinary thing called community. So thank you for your presence. Thank you for your belief. And thank you deeply for your generosity.
Thank you, Luke. And now we have the pleasure of welcoming up our friend Tim. Tim Shriver is a husband, father, educator, best-selling author, chairman of Special Olympics, chairman of Unite, and CEO of Bigger Picture Media. Tim and his wife Linda and their family are longtime friends of L'Arche, if you couldn't tell, and have extended some wonderful hospitality to us over the years, from ice cream socials to pool parties.
Hey, Jen.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you for the cheers, and thank you all for being here. I want to echo Luke's. It's not time for a drink right now, Hazel. We have to wait. We have to wait till sundown before we do. What a joy! What a privilege it is to be here for all of us. A few people came up to me earlier and said, "Oh, it's so nice of you to come." I said, "Well, I wouldn't. I mean, I didn't. Is there anyone in the room here today who would want to be anywhere else? No way. Right here. Wait a second. Did you say yes? Where would you? Other than Miami. Maybe Miami would be fun. I want to just, first of all, I always like to pay tribute to the home team of Hazel and Fritz and Eric and Linda, may she rest in peace, who welcomed me to your home about 10 years ago when I was looking for a place to write, believe it or not. And Caitlin and, well, Luke wasn't in the picture at that time, but allowed me to come and be a part of your community. And it changed thank you. It was a huge privilege. And one I will always treasure, and I hope someday I can do more of. And I know many people, how many people in this room have had a meal at L'Arche? Yeah, okay. All right. Now, if you haven't, raise your hand, because, okay. So all you have to do is sign up. And I know it sounds like just a dinner, and you maybe think, well, there's great restaurants. There's no better restaurant than a L'Arche dinner table. Am I right? There is no better restaurant than a L'Arche dining room table. I want to also, in tribute to Eileen and Deborah and Johnny's loss, remember Michael. Michael, we all have memories of Michael, and Luke so graciously shared so many with us through email as Michael was going through these last few weeks of his life. But Linda and I also shared memories. Michael would come to our house, and he'd immediately say, "How's your sister Maria Shriver?" And then, "How's her husband?" I'm like, "No, Michael, we don't talk about him anymore." Well, he was her husband. Well, yes, Michael, he was her husband. I have a brother named Mark and a brother named Anthony. We talk about them. Yeah, but how's her husband doing? Yeah. But it's true that Michael did, and he would remember all parts of the family. And he would say, "But you have an uncle who died." "Yes, I do." And you have a father. "Is your mother?" "No, your mother's not alive." "No." And, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know, and his capacity to attend to the details of our lives and to be able to remember who we are nested in a family, I will always treasure, we will always treasure. None of us is alone. And Michael reminded me over and over again that you are a part, aren't you? And I'm grateful to him for that. We also this week lost the Pope, and yeah. And I know we're many traditions in this room, so I don't bring the Pope here because of one particular religion. But I do think we are, at least I feel like I'm lucky to have lived in a time when this guy lived. Yeah. You know, do you sometimes think to yourself, well, I wish I could have lived when Lincoln lived, or when, Dr. King was speaking, or when Gandhi. Well, we got to live when this guy was living. We got to watch him and listen to him, and people from all faith traditions, many, many different sectors of Christianity, but also Judaism and Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism. We all got to watch a man who thought, as Luke just said earlier, about human dignity over and over again. His message wasn't political. It wasn't conservative or liberal. That misses the point, and at least for me. So we grieve, and we come here. Linda and I were driving over and got a little bit distracted with this mess and that mess, and this gonna, we're gonna lose funding for this, and what are we supposed to do about that? And so we come here where we miss Michael. We miss the Pope. We face sadness. We face fear. It's beautiful that Joseph said there's a way not to be afraid again, but we face anger in the world around us. Some of the anger is, maybe there's people in this room tonight who are angry about the way things are. But we also are here because at some level we have tears, yes, but we've learned at L'Arche that tears can feed the soul. And the tears that feed the soul with tenderness for each other can be tears that change us. We've learned from L'Arche that there is sadness, but sadness can feed our hearts and remind us to be tender to each other. So sadness is, in a sense, a painful experience, but it's a gift because it makes us more capable of touching and knowing each other. And there is fear. Yes, but the opposite of fear is not safety. The opposite of fear is love. I think that's what you just said. We don't lose our fear because we're safe. We lose our fear because we're loved. And even in danger, we're okay when we're loved. So if you wonder here tonight, as Luke just said, are you supporting an organization? Are we supporting a cause? Are we supporting a charity? Perhaps. But as we were driving over here, I asked Linda, I said, so how would you characterize this moment? And she said, this is the way she put it. If L'Arche is here, we're going to make it. So I'm here to just say how grateful I am to be here. Look at this, these imagine the age of this wood. If it could speak from the time in which it grew. What lesson survives? What brings us into a place like this to be part of this history of the land, of the earth, of community? If the wood could speak to us, what message survives? The message isn't that you're here to support a charity. The message here isn't, make sure you tithe, make sure you give to someone who needs something. The message here is our survival depends on each other. We're not giving to someone else, we're giving to ourselves, to our own freedom, to our own hope. Look, the next slide, the only other slide I have is a picture of Michael. You say to you, well, how do we respond to this moment? People ask me all the time, what should we be doing? Let's listen to Michael's voice. I find belonging everywhere I sit. That's what we should be doing, because how do you do that? That means you have to bring it. He doesn't find it because something happens around him, I don't think. He found it because he brought it. Right? So people say, well, what should we be doing in this moment? I'm not here to talk about your politics, but everyone should be doing something, whether you're right or left or rich or poor, or black or white, or from this state or from DC or from Maryland, whether you voted one way or the other. We all have an invitation to do something. And to do something to follow Michael. Everywhere you sit, bring belonging. Right? That's it. That's an action. That's big. That's bold. You know, you can protest, you can march, you can write a letter, but you can just bring belonging everywhere you sit. I think that would be worth it. Let me close with a few short words from the Pope. The people, he wrote, always hold in their hearts a promise, an invitation that leads them toward what they desire, despite the exclusion they suffer. Jesus' preaching evoked in people ancient promises they carried in their guts, in their blood, an ancestral awareness of God's closeness and their own dignity. By bringing to them that closeness in the way he spoke and touched and healed, Jesus showed them that awareness was real. Okay, gang. Are you carrying it in your gut, in your blood, from your ancestors? You are. We are all carrying a hunger for that closeness deep in our bones. This is the place we say to each other, I see yours, so that mine can be free also. So that we can remember what we just heard. I got on the plane, I was scared, and I'm not afraid anymore. Because someone saw me. Deep in my gut, deep in my blood, deep in my ancestral awareness. I am so grateful to be in a place that celebrates that depth of dignity and love we have within us and that we're all starving to share. May we share it as generously and liberally as possible. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Tim. You've perfectly set the stage for the next part of our program, an exclusive viewing of our new film titled On Loneliness. The theme of this film was born from our desire to address this nation's loneliness epidemic. To bring these stories to life, we partnered with Ever Able, a nonprofit using film to challenge disability stigma. And you may see some familiar faces. Am I right, Joseph?
Yeah.
So we are honored to have Michael McDonald, Ever Able's founding director and creative mind behind the film, here with us today. And you'll hear from him after the film.
Phone.
Enjoy the film.
That was really amazing. I'm not sure how anyone is supposed to follow that, especially when we've all been crying, but I will give it a shot. Hello, everyone. My name, hi Hazel, is Carolyn Rumor. Yeah, you can face it. I'm the president of L'Arche GWDC, and I started at L'Arche as an assistant in Highland House. You may hear as I talk, or you probably already have heard, my 3 or 1-year-old daughters who are here today. And I'm so glad that they are. But as I RSVP'd, I almost asked Sarah, are you sure kids are really invited? Is it okay, or does the invitation only say kids are allowed? And then I realized, of course they are. This is L'Arche, where everyone is welcome, celebrated as they are, and loved. And as we all have experienced in this room in different ways, this mutual connection and acceptance is what is at the heart of the L'Arche GWDC community and makes it so special and unique, especially in our society as it is today. And here with me is Michael McDonald, the founding director of Ever Able, who created our incredible film, along with Riley. Michael, it's an honor to have you here with us. We're excited to hear from you about the magic that happened behind the scenes.
Thanks, Hazel. Thank you so much, guys. It's great. It's so great to be here, and it's such an inspiring event. I mean, I'm going to go back to my family in South Bend with so much great energy. Thank you to everyone.
You did a good job, Michael.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, first what I would love is I'd love for everyone who helped out with the film to either raise your hand or stand up. Whether you did an interview with us, or you were in a scene that wasn't deleted, or a scene that was deleted, or you donated your smoke machine and your drum kit. Yeah, and so thank you everyone. Let's give a round of applause. The late and great filmmaker Andrei Tarkovsky once said that by its very nature, cinema must expose reality, not cloud it. And that's what we tried to do here, to show moments as they really are. We broke the film into 3 different acts. The first act, we meet loneliness. Act 2, we realize that it's not just personal, it's societal. And Act 3, we discover friendship. And the question we're left with, the one that L'Arche has been asking since August 4th of 1964, and L'Arche DC has been asking since Michael joined L'Arche in October 6, 1983, is this question: how do we move into Act 3? Not can we, but how can we? When we started making this film, the first person I actually interviewed was Michael.
And I was really nervous after the interview because after building a bit of rapport, I asked him, okay, so can you share a memory of loneliness? And he thought really hard about it. You could tell he was reaching into the deep recesses of his mind. And he said, no, I can't think of a memory. I said, well, we've all got lonely memories. You can have some time. And he said, I'm just not lonely. Well, what an incredible thing that for 42 years, Michael had Act 3 moments in his life. And he, along with Mo, Jean, and Glenn, who they came from Forest Haven, an institution, they created this for many of us who've been connected to the community. Forest Haven was a place where people weren't just lonely, but they were abandoned. And in many ways, they were disappeared. So back then, the thought of achieving a world where Michael has to strain his mind just to think of loneliness would be a utopian dream. But here we are today, and many people in this room with L'Arche or from beyond L'Arche have made this happen. You mentioned Pope Francis, so I wanted to tell a quick little story since he's on our mind and heart right now in the world. And in 2016, we were doing this series for L'Arche called As I Am, where we did portraits about people with intellectual disabilities around the world. Pope Francis really liked that series, so he invited me to share one of the films at World Youth Day in Krakow in Poland, in front of a live audience of 3 million people. Fun fact, when you're standing on stage in front of 3 million youth, no one really cares what you're saying. They're too busy flirting with the people from the other countries and waiting for the Pope. So I really had a once-in-a-lifetime honor of being ignored by the largest mass of humanity I would ever stand in front of. And it's really liberating, actually. But the gesture wasn't lost on me. Why did Pope Francis think that these small stories mattered so much? And why did he think they deserved a global stage? Well, the next day, having overcome my fear of being ignored, we had a smaller screening with around 1,000 people. And the film that we showed was about a man named Mateusz from L'Arche, Poland. Mateusz doesn't speak much, but every day he takes a cassette tape and he pulls the music out of it, which he really enjoys. Then he decorates the cassette tape and he goes about his day trying to see who in his life that day he's gonna give it to as a gift. He's done this every day without missing a day for 25 years. So people in the town actually give all their extra cassette tapes, they leave them at his footstep, because that's a lot of cassette tapes. So we did this film about him and he was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up. So the film ends, and in the very back of the tent, I see someone stand up and another person stand up and another person. Well, Mateusz had arrived. His mother was pushing him in his wheelchair. And slowly everybody started to give him a standing ovation. And he sat up in his chair a little bit, and he reached into his pocket and he pulled out his cassette tape and threw it in the air. And everyone just erupted into chaotic applause. Well, one thing I couldn't help but notice is that his mother was looking utterly overwhelmed. Of course, she'd always known the beauty of her son, but to walk into a tent of strangers and to see him celebrated and to see him singing, it was almost too much to take. And the strangest part is that in that tent, we were just 50 kilometers from Auschwitz. One generation before, Mateusz would have been disappeared through the T4 program. One generation later, he's being pushed into a tent to a standing ovation. Again, it would have been a utopian dream to think that was possible. Why am I telling you all these random stories? Partly because I have ADHD, but mostly because the terrible truth is 12% of Americans right now will live and die in Act 1 of our film. And 1 in every 4 persons with a disability, intellectual disability in America, Act 1 will be the end of their story. So, like Tim said, this is not exactly about charity, it's kind of about survival. It's about remembering who we are together. And while we were filming this, because I'm a proud father of a 2-year-old, I have to tell this quick story. My daughter Zuzu, who was 1.5 at the time, was learning to speak. And my wife calls me right after a long day of shooting. And she's like, Michael, the most amazing thing happened. I said, what happened? She said, we were just laying in bed together, cuddling. And Zuzu looked at me and she said, I love you too, Mommy. And she goes, but I never told her I loved her in the first place. And also she had never used to after a phrase, which is quite an amazing thing to achieve, because it means you know what other people think about you. And it was the sweetest thing to know that our daughter had internalized all those little whispers in her ear, I love you, to the point that she could just unselfconsciously turn to one of us and say, I love you too. So what happens when we build L'Arche homes in our neighborhoods? Well, the whole neighborhood gets a place where the daily work is helping everyone live into Act 3. What if more neighborhoods had these? A place where friendship is the whole point. Well, I'll tell you what happens. When a father finds out that he's going to have a son with Down syndrome, he knows that down the street, there's a great role model, Fritz. When someone's a successful but lonely computer scientist, he discovers that he can spend his Friday night flapping his arms to Rhapsody in Blue and having a great time. And what happens when we don't have L'Arche communities in our neighborhoods? Well, Alex and Eric never meet. They never realize that they share a love of Star Trek. Hazel and Criselli never get to plot the perfect prank. Fritz and Linus never get to rock out together in their neighbor's garage. And Matayusha's mother never gets to see her son celebrated for who he is, as he is, by a roaring crowd. But we're here because that does exist, and we've done it well. There's a house on Highland Street and 6th Street in Tuan, Ontario, where in the last months of your life, if someone asks you, tell me about loneliness, you have to strain your brain to try to remember what the clutch and the ache of loneliness feels like. So maybe that's why Pope Francis thought our stories were important, because in a world where Forest Haven institution did exist in Act 1, well, L'Arche existed in Act 3. And there are people in this barn tonight who know what I mean in a very real way, who've had a heavy day and run into Fritz and had him look at them and say, yeah, pierce their loneliness, and who have felt the adult version of what my daughter felt. When you look at another adult, a friend, and you really don't have to say anything, but you do know that they love you. And if you wanted to be cheeky, you could say, I love you too. And frankly, as a father and an uncle and a child and perhaps a future grandfather, that's exactly how I wish my neighborhood would be. Thank you.
I'm okay, thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Sure, if you want to. As Eric makes his way. Like Michael said, L'Arche's mission is not just for the people that live and work in our homes. It's for every single one of us in this room. And I know this personally. Every time I show up with L'Arche or receive a FaceTime from Hazel, I receive so much. A vision of the world I actually want to live in and work towards for our future generations. And your support helps make that vision real. Donations make up over 1/3 of our operating budget each year. They help us bridge the gap between what we receive through Medicaid and government contracts and what we actually need to fully thrive as a community. I want to take a moment to say thank you to our Heart of L'Arche Society members who are here with us today and who help us flourish as a community. Society members commit to giving $1,000 or more for 3+ years, sustaining L'Arche and helping us plan for the future.
You do a good job.
Thank you. You all do a good job. Thank you, Society members. which has been especially critical in these uncertain times. If you're curious about joining the society, you'll find more information in your program, or you can talk with any of our development team members to learn more. So what I want to ask you now is, will you join us? Will you step into Act 3 with us? I'm excited to share that we have already raised $120,000, which is amazing.
Come on! Yay! Yay!
Our goal is to raise $50,000 more today. And if there's any way that you can help us get there, we would be so grateful. I'm going to ask each of you to take a moment now to reflect on how we want to be a part of what L'Arche is building. When you checked in, you received a heart-shaped commitment card. There's space on your card to write a gift amount and your contact information. And if you need a pen, please just raise your hand and someone can bring one to you. Or if you prefer to donate online now, you'll see QR codes on the screens, on your tables, and in the programs that will take you directly to our online donation form. We also have some development crew in the hallways and up front who have additional QR codes if anyone wants them from them. Every gift matters. Every act of generosity helps. Thanks, Ritzy. Now I'm going to pause talking for a moment so we can all reflect on what we want our partnership with L'Arche to look like, and take some time to use the QR code or fill out our commitment cards.
This one let you know you're the best friend I've ever had. We love you so much.
Thank you for taking that time. You can drop your commitment cards or make a donation at the checkout tables that are up here or in the hallway.
Of course.
And also where you picked up your name tag. Thank you all again for your presence and engagement today. We don't want it to end here. We want to continue growing our relationships together. Many of us will be around, and we can't wait and would love to talk with you. Thank you again.
So we want to thank you for being here today. It's been wonderful to celebrate the Heart of L'Arche together. Please know you are always welcome with us. Thank you to all who shared the stage today. Eileen, Luke, Tim, Michael, and Carolyn. We also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors and to everyone who has made this event possible. Before you go, don't forget to check out the silent auction items on the table in the bar area. The auction will close at 4:55 p.m. and the winning bidders will be announced just after that. So stick around to see if you won. There is still some food left. Oh, great. It's already past. You better run. There's still some food left, and the bar will close at 5:15.
Y'all, you coming? Farewell.
Thank you, everyone.